Well, it's Friday morning and it was bitter cold, but at least the sun is shining. Came over on the four-wheeler to check the fence, make sure it's all still up overnight. Looks like the dogs are coming to greet me. But let's take a look and see if this fence is still hot and overnight. Yeah, still popping. That is pretty impressive, with last night being probably around -10 or so. But I'm gonna go ahead and shut it all off so I can check it, do a round on it. So instead of listening to this loud four-wheeler, I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk about our livestock guardian dog breeding program. So as we go around this fence, just hear me talk for a little bit. If you want, you can fast forward. But every time you guys see a video, you guys probably feel like you guys see a new dog. We've got a lot of puppies right now. I believe we have 1, 2, 3, 4 new puppies that we're raising with all of our big dogs. And the meaning behind that is we're aiming towards our own pocket, our own bloodline, I guess you could say, our own genetics, because we're not going anywhere. We're planning on being in this for a long time, and we want to know where the most important key to our goat operation, and our sheep operation. We want to know where the most important key to that comes from, and that's our dogs. Dogs keep the herd safe and keep the herd producing and moving and whatnot. So that's one of the main goals we have with these dogs and why you see so many of them. Before we jump too far into the characteristics and genetics that we're aiming for, talk a quick second about the different types of breeds that we run. So we have Anatolian Shepherds, we have Great Pyrenees, we have Maremma, we have Karachikun. I still can't say that word. And we also have some Akbash in there. So each of these breeds are known for different genetics and characteristics that we're trying to bring out when crossing these dogs or breeding these dogs full blood. So over the years, you'll see a mixture or full bloods of these type of genetics, and might also add some other guard dogs in there, maybe like Kangal or something like that. But at the moment, that's what we have and in our breeding program at the moment. And a lot of people get caught up in the breed of the dog, and that's fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, if that dog is working to meet your needs and your operation, and they're functioning very well, they're doing their job, we believe that crossing dogs like that it's at the end of the day it's a benefit to you. So far so good. We're looking good. Some other quick bullet points that we have while building these genetics with our guard dogs and our guard dog herd. A lot of them are going to sound like they're quote unquote natural and they're born with it, and a lot of that, some of that, there's some truth in that, but there's also a lot of false in that. A lot of it comes down to training, as some of you may know in the past with past litters that you've gotten. They're not ready to go. They need some kind of training. But we want dogs that are going to stay with the herd and not get out of the fence. For one, with this electric fence, it's pretty big with us. And this fence is on the ground. Those dogs respect it even if it's on the ground. We've came by and the fence be down, and the dogs don't even go near the fence because they're broke to that fence and they respect the hell out of that fence. We want dogs that are versatile and can be with anything: sheep, goats, cattle, horses, chickens. We want them to be able to be rotated through each of these herds in the blink of an eye and the snap of a finger, being able to go from one herd to the other and work in harmony with the other dogs that we have and not get in fights. We want them to be handleable in case they get sick. We've seen dogs in the past from different other places needing to be, tranquilized or roped or something to catch the dog, just to give it rattlesnake vaccine or give it a shot or take it to the vet. And like I said earlier, they're the most important key to your operation, and you want to be able to treat those to keep them healthy, to keep your herd healthy. And if they're not healthy and they start dying off, it puts you back, a month to a month, or to put you back a year or a year and a half to build up another dog, or cost you a pretty penny to buy a finished started dog. So that's one of the things that we're aiming towards. We'll talk a little bit real quick about what we want in the dog, physical appearance wise. We want a big, broad dog, that's pretty heavy set, but not heavy enough to where they can't roam and run acres and acres of land like they are in here, through brush and trees and valleys and creek beds. We want them to be athletic, but we also want them to be big and intimidating. Um, we want all of our females to be good mothers and care for their pups without any hands on. We've had very good success with that in the past. But at the same time, we want to expose them to human interaction at an early age so they do not fear a human. Um, and we want these dogs to be exposed at an early age. When it comes to bonding with livestock, we like to be able to take a look at them and, in the early stages of life, and see what their characteristics are. A lot of that you can tell how dog's going to be. Not totally, but, you get a really good idea those first 3 months of life on how they are. We've had dogs come out of the womb within weeks, and they're already laying with the stock, instead of running around playing with those roommates. So those dogs are pretty special, and they're not all like that. A lot of people will sit there and say, yeah, they're natural, they're ready to work, and it's not. A lot of it is, every once in a while it is, but for the majority part, it's really not. But that's all we got the time to talk about right now. We'll talk about more about what we're aiming with genetics with these dogs in later videos. Looks like the goats are getting a drink of water this morning. It looks like the tank is frozen, except for down in the area that some of those goats are down there. Sting doesn't zoom very well, but they must have bedded up in that tree line up there for the night. But the sun should be out most of the day, and even though it's still going to be below freezing all day, that sun should definitely thaw out that. Hopefully it's not too thick of a top layer on that tank. But not going to bother the girls too much. I'm going to let them do their thing, let them make their rounds, and I'm going to go turn this fence back on. Very, very impressed with this fence being up over the last 48 hours, especially with that flurry snow we got yesterday morning. It didn't stick too much to the fence. That's another thing. If that fence is hot, that stuff more or less won't stick to those the poly braided wire that's on that fence, and to keep it melting as soon as it touches for the most part. So I guess that's why it's important to keep your fence hot. For one, it'll kill the vegetation on the fence, and it'll also stay warm enough to the point where that snow will not stick. But very happy, 10 out of 10. This fence is very reliable. And our charging system that we put together with our Cyclops charger, our controller, and our battery and solar panel held up well. Very, very well. Very, very, very happy. Well, the billy water was pretty frozen solid. I got to bust it with my little fence pounder there. But, I don't know, is that 4 inches, 3 inches of ice? Pretty crazy. But they are thirsty. Oh man, even when you're not feeling the best, folks. I haven't been feeling the greatest, but gotta come out here. Just like Tyler was talking about, you got a responsibility to these animals. You gotta come out here and take care of them. Even though they're pretty self-sufficient, but they can't help it that their water's frozen. In a more natural environment like the other nannies are, They have natural water source there, and that's harder to freeze, so we didn't really have to worry much about them. But this pasture has no water, and we've got to transport water into it, so you got to do things like this. That water reservoir that we have over here is a frozen solid block of ice. Now I gotta take the ice out. You want to take the ice out as much as you can like that, so it's harder for it to freeze back over. That's a lot of ice. And there's still some in there, but got most of it off the top. They'll be able to get a drink. And it's dog food. Check out this dog food here. Oh, they got plenty. That's another pup in training we have got there. We've got old Rip showing them the ropes. Come here, boy. He's still a little skittish, but seeing the other dogs come up to us makes him want to. Just so you guys realize how really cold it was last night, we had 2 tractors go out on us. We put the anti-gelling in that fuel and whatnot, but still it gave out on us. That's a brand new tractor there. It's only a year old. The tractor over there is about 6-7 years old. We were trying to roll out some hay for these cows, and it just gave out on us. So I'm hoping to let it sit in the sun a couple more hours, hopefully around 2 o'clock or so. Come over here and crank it and let it run for a little bit, and hopefully get it back up to the house. But it's pretty crazy weather for Texas, guys, especially when you've got all these different types of livestock on your hands that rely on you to at least be their caretaker. So yeah, but at least we got some of it rolled out. I got most of it rolled out, and as I was on my way back, it pooped out on me. So I'm not even going to jack with it right now. I'll come back in a few hours and try it again.